Well, hello to everybody in the BPESA verse. As you guys know, BPESA is extremely fanatic about getting youth into our sector, but more importantly, about the growth that one can experience within the global business service sector. And we have many testimonies of people who have started out as entry-level staff in a call center or have come in with no experience. And for them, it's always been a case of going and learning. Most people entering the sector see it as a stepping stone, but they see it as a stepping stone outside of the sector. And today I want to introduce you to a very special guest, somebody who came in from another sector that joined the global business services sector after having many years of experience outside and still managed to grow largely and greatly and have a massive influence on the people's lives within our sector. With that, I want to introduce you to Micky Maharaj. Hi, Micky.
Hi, Shona. Thank you for that fantastic introduction. Not sure it's
Absolutely.
deserving, but yes.
It absolutely is deserving. Your story is really something phenomenal, and it's something that I want people within our sector, particularly the youth, to understand and to know that when they enter into call center, contact center, and global business services, as we call it, it's not about a job for now. It's about a career and it's about building something for their futures. And I'm hoping that when they listen to your story, they'll see how possible that is for them. So without us wasting too much time, Micky, I want you to tell everybody reading the newsletter, watching this video, about your journey and how you came to be within Global Business Services.
Wow. So it's a pretty long journey. So I start right at the beginning, I suppose.
Please.
Okay. All right. So when I was a youth, it was in an area called Shellcross in Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. At the age of 17, finished matric, got a job at a factory as a general laborer. And I must say, at that point in time, expectations were that if I had kept that job, I would have been a great success. That was the type of community that I grew up in. And with the help or the nudging of my dad and my elder brother, I then got into the South African Police Services at the age of 18. I turned 19 in 1994, just before the first democratic elections in our country. I remember serving our country at that time. It was a momentous occasion for me, 27 April 1994. Just turned 19, and I was standing in Groblersdal, I think it was, with a firearm in my hand and a blue uniform on. I could not believe what had happened with my life, but I enjoyed every moment of it. I then went on to enjoy that career tremendously because it really is a fulfilling calling. It's not really a job. Where you truly add value into other people's lives. My elder brother is still in the police force as a dog handler, and I always tell him that you are doing God's work. And it came to a point where I had gotten my law degree whilst in the police through UNISA, and I then wanted to progress into the legal space, joined the National Prosecuting Authority as an aspirant prosecutor. And then, funny enough, lost a bet with my wife where she says that she was pregnant, and I, due to our misgivings prior, I then bet that she wasn't. And the bet was that if she was pregnant, I would then move into the private sector and try and get some a meaningful salary rather than a subsistence allowance. And lo and behold, my beautiful daughter is 16 now, and I'm with Outsurance for 17 years. So, needless to say, who won that bet? I do regret in part. I think we all have these little regrets that I did not pursue a career as a prosecutor, but do not regret one bit the birth of my baby and the fantastic career that I've built and the journey that I've embarked on with Outsurance, which is about 17 years ago. I then joined Outsurance as which was a natural transition to be an investigator. and shortly thereafter moved into team manager roles, into the call center, and kind of moved around quite a few different spaces and roles in the call center.
That sounds good. So you moved from being in the police force to being a prosecutor to then kind of taking a step down, really, even though you were moving into corporate, to become a fraud investigator for Outsurance, right? And at that stage, I'm assuming that the fraud investigation team was seen, you were seen as an agent back then in the fraud investigation team.
Yeah, so Outsurance is all about internalizing everything that matters to the client. So we were actually fully fledged employees of Outsurance, not a loss adjusting firm, so to say, so to speak. So we worked directly for the company, yes. And it was quite an interesting job, the things that people get up to, and using that skill set to try and protect, premium paying clients
Yeah.
from the naughtiness that happens
Yeah.
out there. Yes.
And then you moved into call center. So, and I mean, call center is something that is pretty unique. There's a different skill set that's required, and no doubt, being in the police, you get to learn certain things. But you're now moving into a leadership role within a call center, and that takes a whole different skill set. But that's not where you ended up. So you didn't end up as a team leader in a call center, right?
Yes.
You're somewhat of a big shot, and I'm going to leave you to talk about how you became this big shot. Talk to me about your journey when you entered that call center world. What was it like for you? What are some of the skills you learned, and where did you end up now? And how many years did it take you to get there?
Yeah. All right. So I've got a fond memory of leaving or being at the call center on a Sunday, because that's what I did. I was so out of my depth. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And one of our founders, Willem Ruiz, found me in the parking lot, and he asked me, "So what are you doing?" And I literally told him, "Well, I'm finding my feet." Well done with that. Once you do find your feet, you will soar, if this is your attitude towards the job. So, needless to say, we were obviously not open on Sundays. So, I missed a big part of my child's first couple of months of her life, because I had found myself fish out of water, and I then did everything I could to try and learn and figure this out. The you, yeah, I guess the one thing is you've got to work hard.
Yeah,
There's no, I don't want to mince my words about that. You just got to work hard. If you find yourself out of depth, then do something about it. Don't be a victim of it. So I learned a lot about all of this management information, data analysis, and how to write reports and things that obviously I was not doing as a police officer. And then it dawned on me that actually I already have this skill set, because all it is just moving people. That's all it is. You
yeah,
move people to get them to do the best that they can, and
yeah,
make sure that you have the right people on the bus.
yeah,
Have the right person for the particular skill set. If I were to look at claims versus sales, it's different types of people, or different parts of their journeys in life. So have the right fit for purpose, and then get the best out of them. and
yeah,
and that is what I learned very early on, and I started delving into that, and reading more and learning more about psychology, and behavioral economics, and neuroscience and decision making, because that intrigued me, because I had 10 people, and then it was 30 people, 50, 100, and now it's just a little under 1,000. So, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's people. They have the same, everybody has the same desires, and do's and don'ts, mostly. If you are in the labor force, you are that part of our economy that actually stood up and made the move. So we are all more similar than we are different. And if I just reflect on myself, what moves me is probably what moves the person next to me, and then the person that I just employed, or the person that I promoted. It's the same thing. And that was the big learning for me and the big penny dropping moment, that the more I learn about people, the better I get at this. So yeah, and then I progressed throughout the business, and eventually in 2017 September, I was given this golden opportunity to head up the, or to steer the Hastings campaign, where we were about to launch a contact center in South Africa servicing our UK clients, and also take over our existing business where we service our Australian clients through our banner or our company in country there called UE. And that was just phenomenal for me, because now I get an opportunity to kind of have my own toy, if you want. So yeah, ran with that opportunity. We started with 20 people in 2017 November, and we are now in 670 in the Hastings campaign, and we are about 267 odd in the Australian campaign, and I also oversee the Outsurance Namibian business as an executive director. So yeah, things have progressed quite well. But if you were to ask me, so what do I notch it up to? Oh yes, and in between somewhere there was also the MBA through WITS. What do I notch it up to? Work hard and realize that if you are in leadership, it's about people. It's not about you. It's not about what you read or what you know or how good you are at maybe even writing code. It's irrelevant. It's about people. People do the work, not us as leaders.
Well, that's phenomenal, right? And I think me having come through the ranks as well, I know that it was because of really good leadership that I'd had at some point, but also in that I knew what it was like being on the ground. And when I moved into leadership, it was exactly that mentality. It was around, how do I make the people who are doing the work excited to do the work, because it's only through that that they're going to be energized to want to stay and grow and move up, so that the more they learn and the more efficient and proficient they become in their roles, the more leaders I'm creating, and the more leaders I'm creating, the more opportunities I'm creating for employment. And that is theoretically what you've done. And what our sector does, we look at creating employment opportunities for people.
Yes.
But you had an employment opportunity and you didn't just leave it there. You focused on hard work. And from what I'm hearing, you focused on improving yourself through studies and through going after different sets of learning. But apart from the formal learning that you've done and that you've pursued for yourself, really, what has the sector taught you about people, about leadership, about yourself even? Things that you apply not only within your current role, but things that you can apply in life, things that you can apply in your family life. Talk to me a little bit about your growth as a human being in the sector.
Yes. I think so. Everything you have said on point. Thank you for also sharing that. And I think more people need to share that. Before I go to what I've or how I have grown from the sector, I think I just want to latch on to what you said. We kind of all looking for this higher purpose, and this sector gives you that as a South African. It truly delivers it to you on a plate. You do not have to look very far. So, as an example, the first 20 people that started on the Hastings campaign, had they failed, we would not have created the 650 additional jobs. It's as simple as that. It's a straight line nexus. If those people failed, 650 jobs wouldn't have been created. Now, every one of us in the sector needs to think like that. You do not have to look too far to find your higher purpose. Literally, if I do well, we put food on more people's tables.
Yeah.
We give more people opportunities. And it's a fantastic time. Fantastic is a bad word. It's a good commemorative moment for us entering the month of June, where June 16th is coming up. And in 1976, the uprising started and 176 youth lost their lives. What would they have given for this opportunity? Now that we find ourselves here, the youth of today, where unemployment is running rampant, this sector offers that opportunity to curb the unemployment rate. It offers that again on a platter. You do not have to look too far. You do not have to think too far. You do not have to create anything. It's being created for us all around us. BPESA has done a phenomenal job along with the DTI and has positioned us so well. So us as a country should take pride in that and then leverage that. But every one of us, whether you are answering the phone or doing something online, doing web chat, doing accounts, legal work, it's rather irrelevant what you are doing. The fact that you are doing that and you are doing it right and you're doing it well means that there will be more people doing it. More people doing it, more tax revenue. More people doing it, less poverty. More people doing it, less unemployment. And that's the mandate that we should give ourselves. And that's a legacy that we should leave ours. For the youth of 1976 left a powerful legacy that the youth can stand up quite against an oppressive regime. What legacy are we going to leave? That we took that opportunity and squandered it because we were suffering, because we were victims of something, or did we take that opportunity and make the most of it? So this sector has taught me and shown me that it delivers this. It gives me that higher purpose. I wake up every day knowing that, I say that to my brother, who's in the dog unit in the police, that he's doing God's work. And every time when I'm telling him that we are recruiting, and he would then return the praise and say, no, but you are, because this is what we are doing. That's what the sector does. And yes, the churn rate may be high. And yes, we may lose contracts as fast as we get them. But can we please stop focusing on that and focus on the fact that we are creating these skills? I mean, none of us would have put our hand up in primary schools saying that I want to be a call center agent. Nobody does that. It's not an aspirational job. Let's call the elephant out in the room. I did not do that. I was lucky. I'm one of the fortunate people that actually did achieve a dream of being a police officer. But for the majority, now you didn't want that when you were in primary school, like me. But here we are. Now make the most of what you have, because life happens. Mature, become an adult.
Yes.
Stop pining over becoming a fireman, because they are recruiting if you're not afraid of fires or heights, that is. But but stop that. That's my advice to people, and that's what I keep telling myself. Stop wanting more when you've got this fantastic magical thing in front of you that changes lives. So how did this sector grow me? I learned more about people. I learned and I hate using these words, but from a strategic point of view, I learned how to become a better strategist when it comes to dealing with people from other jurisdictions, which is critically important, because make no mistake, a company may be called X, but that's just written on a piece of paper that lies in some attorney's drawer. The company is people. It's just people. It's always people. It's always people. So you got to learn how to deal with different people. You've got to learn a lot more about yourself, because when you are squeezed, whatever's inside is going to come out. So you've got to be very protective over what's inside. Protect your time, energy, and headspace. And that when you are dealing with other people, then you kind of put the best representation of South Africa first, then of your company, and then of yourself. Remember that. And that's what I hold dear to my heart.
That's a pretty awesome takeaway. And you've got me emotional talking about the dream and about people that have given up their lives so we can have opportunities today. And, at some point, I want people who are in matric to go, I want to be a call center agent, because there's value in it. There's honor in being a call center agent. There's reward in being a call center agent. And there's growth. You can become anything from that platform that you decide to be in. And I mean, you're evidence of that. So, Micky, there are a lot of people entering our space, whether it is matriculants that have just come out and they're entering the job market. Our sector caters for that. But there's also people that are coming in from different sectors that, due to COVID and due to the economic crisis that we find ourselves in, there's a lot of industries that are shutting down. There's a lot of unemployment in that youth space. What is the advice that you would give to these young boys and girls, men and women entering our space on how to approach it and how can they become successful in this space? What can they do to be successful?
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good touch point because we actually use that as part of our recruitment process to test for stickability. Because obviously, as you know, Shona, I mean, we are measured heavily on our attrition rates. So we kind of frame the question in so why do you want this mundane, repetitive job?
Yeah.
So we kind of frame it like it's bad, and not to give it away now that people must remember the answer to this question and then catch us at our own interview guides because it's a pretty stale question anyway, so not too precious about it. But it's amazing how many people have cottoned on to the fact that yes, the task may be mundane and the systems and the screen in front of me and all of that, but I get to speak to a different person on every call. How many people can say that they have spoken to maybe 50 different human beings in one shift?
Yeah.
Well, in our case, we are burning at the moment, so more like 100. but but who can say that?
Yeah.
How many jobs out there offers you that? And how do you do this? Either in the comfort of your own home or in the comfort of a ergonomically approved chair, and with a comfortable headset, and having your coffee there. So you're not speaking to 50 or 100 people where you have to drive to them or sit in their environment and they can see you and your facial expressions and all of that other stuff that makes us nervous. You're doing it at your leisure, and you
Yeah.
get to speak to 50 to 100 people per day. And the chances of speaking to the same person twice is quite slim, depending on your skill set. And the fact that you get to be this person, you actually become this person that puts yourself out there. The other thing that we notice, and I always say this to my wife Cheryl when we're at a function, and I will say, I bet you those people work at the call center. You will see it a mile away because the function will probably get a little bit dreary, and then you'll get, come, let's play musical chairs. Come, you, Oma, Opa, come, sit, let's do this, play the music, and people are wondering, who are these people?
Yeah.
But that's what this job, that's what the sector does to you. You are so outgoing. You put yourself out there. You lose that fear of failure. You lose that rejection. I mean, come on, who cares? You work in a call center, you can deal with rejection. It doesn't affect you anymore. You become a stronger, bigger, better, more mature person
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
So, like you, I also harbor the notion that someday people will treat this as an aspirational job, and I'm sure it will happen. It's just a pity that we're not there yet. But yeah, but that's what I would offer as advice for new entrants. Recognize that it's going to change your life. Let it do that because it will change it for the better. You will be a lot more appreciated at social functions. You'll be a lot more adaptive. You would lose your fear of rejection, and you get an opportunity to speak to several different people, sometimes in different jurisdictions, per day.
Yeah. So you're getting an international education if you end up in one of our international BPOs.
Yes.
You get confidence, especially if you've been broken down as a child or in the schooling system. You get to build confidence in yourself because you get to be who you want to be on that phone. If in your head you're this confident, outspoken, really intelligent person, you get to be that. And slowly but surely that trickles over into your personal life. And I love what you said. This environment will change you. Let it change you. That's an awesome piece of advice. Thank you, Micky. I think I'm also going to take it on. I never really leave this sector, even though I work as part of the industry body and we work with companies. This sector will always be who I am. It's not about me being in a sector. It's about that sector being in me. Like we embody that. And you're right, at functions, the people who are really getting people to get up and getting the vibe going are people that come from our space. And yeah, we take a beating, we learn how to take a beating, and we get up, we dust ourselves off, and we do it again. So I think it's the one sector that allows you the opportunity to redo things as many times as there are calls coming in, or as many calls as you're making out to really just sustain you. But I also want to just wrap things up in terms of your conversation. Number one, it was hard work. You came in and you worked hard. So anybody entering our space needs to know that it's not going to be rosy, that it's not going to be, I'm just sitting there and it's not mundane. I'm sitting, I'm taking a call. I'm getting to speak to somebody different every day. So I'm learning people skills. I'm learning how to read different people.
Yeah.
I have to work hard. If I don't understand something, I've got to put in the extra time, like you did on a Sunday. I mean, you were there, you were trying to find your feet, you were making sure that when you got in on that Monday, you knew what you were going to do and how you were going to. You also had a vision. You knew that you wanted to make a difference. And I think that aspect of your career, I find absolutely heartwarming because you came from a job or you came from a calling into another calling, and your calling is to shift people's lives, whether it was through protecting them in the police force, whether it was through prosecution and getting the baddies behind bars, or whether it is through giving them an opportunity to grow, to sustain their families, and to sustain themselves. It's really, you can find your purpose in this sector, and I think that is the message that the youth needed to hear. So I absolutely thank you for your time, and I thank you for sharing those pieces of gold with us today. And I'm really hoping that even if one life is changed, one attitude is shifted towards how do I make a difference in my role, whether I'm a call center agent or somebody that's doing admin in the background. How do I make a difference in my life and in the people's lives that I could influence by doing my job really well? Micky, thank you so much. Is there one last parting thought you want to leave with us?
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think you summed it up far better than I narrated. If I'm going through my head, I may have missed some of your questions. Apologies for that, but that summation was on point. The parting thought is don't take yourself too seriously. Please, life is too short for that. Take your job seriously because that really matters and it has an everlasting impact on our economy. Remember that we have that mandate. But whilst doing that, please do not take yourself too seriously. We've got far too many people doing that who are apparently in charge of us at the moment.
Awesome. Absolutely love it. Micky, thank you very much for your time today. I'm looking forward to having a lot more chats like this with you.
So, cheers, Shona. Thanks for the opportunity.
Bye bye.
Bye.